hello, Miguel, and whoever else is watching. All right, that was more
One viewer.
Australian. What's that?
Got one viewer right now. Hello, one viewer.
Yay! But we are mighty.
Yes. Have you ever heard
Well,
of fire
in all
walking?
fairness, we're always late,
Yeah, we are.
so we can't blame others for being late.
Yes.
So, what is going on with you that you can talk about?
Yeah. I'm currently seeing, I just found this random meme on Facebook that says, "Beloved, do not take part in any of these components of Satan's spiritual structure." And these are doorways to demonic possession. And among a whole list of a lot of things, one of them is
Skateboarding.
what?
Skateboarding.
Firewalking is one of them. Like, is that when people literally just walk on fire?
Mm-hmm.
Really? That leads to
Is walking on water one? Oh, hypocrite. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I've seen those signs where it's like skateboarding, rock music, wearing all black. Like, I mean, they're hardcore.
Burning Man. That's one of them. I don't know what that
I
like.
don't,
No
I
idea
don't
what that
even know
is.
what the fuck Burning Man is.
No, like some of these, it's like I don't know what the heck these
Burning a
are.
Man, yes. Burning Man, no. It's a bunch of freaking hippies that gather in the desert to like tell each other they love each other and hug and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah,
I can understand why religious zealots don't like that.
that's fair. So yeah, yoga. Of course, they hate on yoga.
Yoga. Ah!
Yeah,
Is that really like is that really super different from praying? I mean, the difference is you're not praying to a deity, but you are meditating. I guess that's why it's like evil because you're like praying to nature and not
I feel
some
like
deity.
anything that has remote Eastern roots
Yes.
is bad. I think that's kind of basically anything
Or
that
Western.
yeah, or what yeah, but
Jesus is white.
yeah, exactly. So
Um, before I forget, I don't want to forget these two things. Friday, I'm going back to East Palestine, um, bringing some more mutual aid with Jenna, who's in the chat, my partner in crime. Um, and Thursday, I'm super excited. I have Kim, who is the um documentarian who just completed the first documentary on Julian Assange. And the trailer is fucking brilliant. Like, I am not kidding you. When I saw the trailer, I had tears, I had goosebumps, and I'm like, I am reaching out to him immediately. And Kim was super responsive, and he is joining me 8 p.m. Eastern Thursday night. And I'm telling you, check out that freaking trailer. It's called The Trust Fall, and they have their own Twitter account. You guys, wow. Stella's in it. Gabriel Shipton's in it. Like Julian's family, like everyone's in it. Whew, it's amazing. It really is. So I'm super excited to have him. But yes, we have some fun things to discuss, of course. Andrew, what is first
I'd
up?
I'd say it's a combination of fun stuff and depressing stuff.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Well, how can you appreciate fun stuff without the depressing stuff? Like
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
need, you don't appreciate the light without the darkness.
Exactly. Without lightness, there's no dark. Without darkness, there is no light. Yes.
We just read the Tao Te Ching, or the something, the Bhagavad Gita. We just read something very profound, and we're having a very profound philosophical moment right now.
So, as some of you may or may not know, the UAW is in the middle of negotiations. And I wanted to, show a video of actually this General Motors worker talking to Bernie Sanders and talking about how she was forced into a 12-hour shifts. This was back in 2016 for 90 days straight with no days off. And so I just want to share this video because I think it really it really brings perspective as to how exploitative these companies can get. All right.
All right. What's going on from your perspective?
From my perspective, well, like Sean and you both were saying, the mental health crisis. I worked in Tennessee at one time, and we went into what they consider a critical status. So that meant we had to work 90 days solid, straight, no days off.
Stop.
Yes.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop. You know why? Because all over this country, there are people who are watching this, and they're saying,
yes,
you work 90 days in a row?
In a row, 12-hour shifts.
Hold it. All right. A minute. You're talking about, did you do that yourself?
Yes, I did.
90 days in a row, no days off, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Is that
No days off, no excuse, no church. We couldn't have any excuse for a Sunday either. Yes, 90 days.
All right, let me just stop there. I hope everybody hears what Michelle is saying. I don't know how many people could survive. I mean, that is pretty crazy stuff. 7 days a week, 12 hours a day in the middle of what, this is COVID time?
No, it was before COVID. We were in a launch. It was in 2016.
All right. I don't know. You tell me what happens to people's mental health. I could not survive that. I don't know how many people could. What happens to your mental health when you work 90 days, 12 hours a day?
Well, you really don't have much time for anything at all. You work, you eat, and you sleep. I saw none of my family. I was away from home because I'm originally from Kokomo. My plant was idling down. The second plant I went to had gotten sold out from under us. So I had to go to Tennessee, and it was very lonely. It was a very lonely time. If I didn't have my faith, I don't really know where my mental health would have been, to be honest.
What about some of your coworkers? Were they struggling as well?
Yes, they were struggling. It was very hard to stay up that many hours at work. The difference with me, I was in skilled trades, so I wasn't tied to a line where I was constantly doing the repetition. We were in a launch though, so everything was an emergency on everything. So we were constantly running. Actually, I had to have shoulder surgery during that time because they wanted us to hurry, get this done. And I was trying to change some filters, and my shoulder snapped on me. So we go through a lot in the factories that a lot of people don't understand. They said I had 23 years, but this month at the 19th, I will have 24 years in. I've had 2 carpal tunnel surgeries on my right hand, left hand. I had elbow surgery, and both my shoulders have been operated on because of factory work. So it wears on you.
Thank you for relaying that, because I think.
Yeah.
Crazy. First of all, Bernie, let the woman talk, for fuck's sake. Like, seriously. Well, no. Just let her talk. Sorry, I had to say that because I was like, really? But what the actual fuck? And GM has laid off how many people? Like,
Yeah.
so you have to have shoulder surgery when you have to work 12 hours a day. Like, there is no doctor or hospital in the universe that will not tell you to take 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks off. Like, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Right. No, absolutely. So wanted to just share a little bit about what specifically they are demanding. So the UAW demands 46%, but besides not working 90 days straight, they also demand 46% pay hike in talks with Detroit 3. So the UAW is seeking a 46% wage increase over 4 years as a part of its negotiations with the Detroit 3 automakers, according to a page of the union's written demands. The proposal will be the largest pay increase in recent history. The proposal from the Detroit-based union that represents 150,000 workers making Chevrolets, Fords, Jeeps, and more calls for a 20% general wage increase upon ratification of a new contract to offset severe impact of inflation over the past few years. After that, the union demands a 5% increase every September through the life of the agreement through 2027. The UAW's top wage is $32.32 per hour after 3% increases since 2019. The union's proposal will bring that to $47.14, nearing the $49 per hour average top rate recently achieved in a tentative agreement by the International Brotherhood of Teamsters with UPS, United Parcel Service, Inc. So talk about synergy there, right? They're kind of sounds like they're kind of modeling what the UPS was doing before.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So that's
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know what's awful? And she didn't say this, but having worked at like corporations before when I was younger, I know that what happens is at some point these corporations want to get rid of whoever has been there the longest because they have the most benefits, they have the most time off, they have the most sick pay, they have the highest pay. And if she's been there 24 years and now she's making noise, they could very well say, hey, take early retirement or kick rocks.
Yeah.
And that's legal. So anytime someone says they've been at a place long like that, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. No, agreed. So we'll see. 150,000. That's a lot of workers.
Lots of workers.
So,
was that this week, that interview?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
So, speaking of how the American dream doesn't exist, as George Carlin likes to say, or he did say, you have to be asleep to believe it.
Speaking of which, if/when Biden's the nominee, my write-ins will go to Joe Strummer and George Carlin.
Nice.
Just thought I'd throw that in. People who are actually heroes because they're dead and they can't disappoint me.
That's true. Yeah, especially now when there's like so many people who have done disappointing things that historically have been on the right side of history. It's like, sometimes it's like, okay, at least these people are not alive to disappoint you.
Exactly. Like, at least I already know what they've done and said and actually respect them, and they can't piss me off because they are not alive. That's the safest way.
Exactly. So I saw this too. I saw this like a few days ago as well, and I was kind of surprised. I wasn't really sure if Fox News was like, okay, so I'll just read the caption. Fox News, feeling helpless, Alabama's mom rant about the unattainable American dream goes viral. So I'll just say I wasn't sure if Fox News was like highlighting her or trying to like say, oh, look at this case.
I think because of the word rants, I think that was used as a pejorative.
Probably.
I kind of had that feeling too. Like, are they celebrating it? But then I read the comments.
And they're just like, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Fucking liberal complaining about everything.
Right. So here, we'll just watch what she has to say.
I am so tired of feeling helpless as a parent. Yes, my kids are grown adults. My oldest is 28, my youngest is 25. And I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need, right? Worked for me. Why wouldn't it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world has changed, all right? And now I feel like I see them struggling. And before my generation comes at me, yes, I understand struggling is a part of life. We all struggled. But there's a difference between struggling and drowning, all right? So we struggled and it was tough. But you know what? We made it. We knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel with our struggle. It seems like kids today, no matter how much they struggle, they just get further and further down the water into the drowning point, all right? When I was their age, I was making less than $10 an hour, and I can afford to live on my own. Now you have to be making six-figure salary to get a decent, tiny little place to live. So what the is going on, and how do we help them as parents? I told my son, all you have to do is work hard, go to college, or join the military like I did. He went to college, got his degree, got a full-time job. He moved back in with me right when he graduated from college because he said, hey, Mom, as soon as I get a job, which was within 2 weeks of him getting out of college, maybe take me 2 months and I'll save up enough money for me to move out. Okay, cool. It's been 10 months. He has saved almost every dime and still can't afford to live. Why are one-bedroom studio apartments almost $2,000 a month? Why? Like, I just don't get it. So I don't even think that there's even classes anymore. There used to be, upper class, middle class, lower class. It's literally turning into.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys get the point. And what a refreshing take to hear that from a parent. Because holy shit, we see that all the time. Bootstraps. When I was your age, I paid for my own college, blah, blah, blah. And we hear that shit all the time. And to hear a mom say, you know what? It is different now. I mean, I look at, even my dad. My dad is 83 years old. He never went to college. And he was the product manager of Mack Trucks for over 40 years. Never went to college. Now, could he even clean the bathrooms? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, things are so different now. So different. And, back in the day, you only needed one income to own a home and live maybe not well, but comfortably, and it's like, they do need this college degree to do this, that, and the other thing. And like, I used to work for federal student loans, and, I never talked to anyone who actually worked in what they studied.
Mm-hmm.
Like, never. Working retail right now. I'm waiting tables. I'm still looking. And it's like, things are not, so many so-called boomers, I hate using that word because it is used as slander, and I don't want to use it that way, but a lot of older people don't understand that things are so different now, so different. And thinking that, saying things like, oh, they just want avocado toast and stuff, that's really fucking ignorant, because it's, people in their 20s and even late teens have legit despair because they are worried about the future. They can't find jobs. They can't find places to live that they can afford. They're still with their parents after college and stuff like that. That's really traumatic to a lot of people, and it doesn't give them a lot of hope. So definitely, I think that mom has a, you know, I think it was ballsy to make that video, and I think it's badass. And I think her sons are fortunate to have a mom that recognizes, how different things are.
Yeah, no, 100%. My grandfather, who also didn't go to college. He was unionized and worked in an ice cream store, and yeah, was able to afford an apartment for rent in Brooklyn with 4 kids and a wife. Yeah, that just shows. I mean, yeah, of course they were definitely working class. They weren't swimming in money, but affording an apartment like that in Brooklyn now, like couldn't even get a one bedroom.
One person.
Yeah, so that
Wow.
just shows. And then, of course, I think that they ended up moving to North Carolina because they weren't unionized, and that was like the beginning of everything going to shit. But that just shows, right, that it was very different back then. And so, yeah, it is great though that I think she, and especially, I mean, it always is refreshing, like you said, somebody of that generation. And I think she lives in Alabama, right? Yeah. So again, I don't know where in Alabama she lives, but generally a very
progressive view.
Right. So,
which is why the comments looked the way they did.
Yes, exactly.
She's a communist, and she wants everything for free, and it's like, but just listen to what she's saying. Just listen. It's true. She's telling you her experience. She's telling you firsthand what her kids are going through.
And I think I don't need to say that obviously there's a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to conservatives, right? But one of the things that I think stands out to me is that, conservatives are always kind of like making fun of liberals when they don't question authority, which some of it is warranted because especially lately, right? Liberals do oftentimes just take things at face value and don't question the spin or the authority source that is providing that information. And so it is kind of hypocritical when people complain and say, hey, like, we're not getting a fair shot here. The powers that be, the powers that are in control are not giving us a fair shot. And then suddenly it's like, oh, you're a communist because you dare question our economic system that a lot of people are living in hell, right? So that's just an interesting dichotomy I've found. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, look around. Most of the, all the poorest states are pretty much Republican states. Now, I'm not a Democrat, and I'm not saying it's because of the Democrats that they're not, the poorer ones. I'm just saying. And, it's still very much, there's a lot of delusion on both sides, so to speak. it's really can we just get like 20 more parties that just like break up the duopoly, do away with them, and just actually fuck electoral politics? Can we just like not? Let's just, do our own thing for a while. Let's see how that goes. Anarchy is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't say it was bad if we never tried it.
It's true. It's true. All right. So, as some of you may have known, last week, there were fires in Hawaii, the Hawaii island of Maui. And so, with weather experts pointing to unusually dry conditions on the Hawaii island of Maui that primed the area for the wildfires that killed at least 36 people. Now, I just want to put a pin on this and say there have been videos of other people saying that from what they have seen, residents there are far more people that have died from this than 36. And to be fair, this article was written a few days ago, so the number, they may not have been updated, but just saying, I think some people are claiming that maybe 600 people at least have died from this.
Well, there's over 1,000 still missing. So now, could they be hiding? Yes. All 1,000 of them? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's...
Yeah. Especially because it's like, these are islands. Like, how many places can people go other than like...
That's the thing.
In the water.
If you don't have a boat...
Like, yeah. So, like, it's not like they're fleeing to the next state over.
Yeah, like I've been there, and it takes a couple hours to even get to the next island.
Yeah. Climate activists on Thursday said the devastation offers the latest evidence that Biden must declare a national climate emergency. Yeah, he's doing real well with claiming state of emergencies lately. Major General Kenneth Hara, the top defense official in Hawaii, said early Thursday that the wildfires had been contained, but authorities are still assessing widespread damage, displacement, and loss of life following a disaster that sent residents frantically running into the ocean for safety. The historic town of Lahaina, once the capital of Hawaii, was decimated by the fires on Wednesday, with its oldest building apparently burned to the ground. And so Theo Morrison, executive director of Lahaina Restored Foundation, told New York Times that the town had no preparation, no warning, nothing, as the flames, directly fueled by the 80-per-mile-hour winds of Hurricane Dora south of Hawaii and dry vegetation, spread to Lahaina and razed its historic town center in a matter of hours. And so, this is what continues to happen as everything keeps getting more dry from the heat. I wanted to bring up a New York Times reporter and an interesting tweet that has been getting a decent amount of attention. So this guy is Kellen Browning. He's a New York Times reporter. And I think when we talk about how reporters sometimes just like live in their bubble, I just want to read this to you. On Friday, Alicia Stratton searched desperately through the wreckage of her Lahaina home for the Rolex watch her parents gave her when she graduated college. Suddenly, her fiance pulled it from the ashes. "You found it," she said, choking up. "It was damaged, but still legible." Okay.
I saw that, and I was like, oh, no, it's one of these feel-good stories that are so fucking sad.
Right. Like, there are people who died. There are people missing, as you mentioned. There are people who have lost their homes. But, like, we're highlighting somebody who lost a watch, a nice watch.
And we're putting a picture of them smiling very big amongst rubble. And why is there a photographer there when she's searching for a watch? Like, when there's like I feel like the whole thing is so fucking staged.
Yeah.
It's so hokey, and like if it's real, good for you. I mean, cool. If that watch means a lot, cool. But like, look around you. If that's all that's left, are you telling me you're still not going to be emotional?
Yeah. It also looks like they both just came back from a run. Like,
I was like, why would you
clothes I
wear
wear
that?
when I come back from a run? Like, not necessarily when like a disaster just happened. Like, what the
I'm
fuck?
like, you would walk, like, you're asking to get hurt wearing those little shorts and shoes that don't cover your ankles, and like, I noticed that too. It just looks fake. It honestly looks fake. I don't know. Maybe it's not. And if it's not, I apologize to those people. But anyway, you look at it, that's not the takeaway from this. It's not.
No.
It's just not.
No.
Show pictures of the people who are grieving, because that's reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, what the fuck is this? Leave it to the New York Times.
Yep.
Hawaii is going to put that picture on like future travel brochures. Like, amongst the wreckage, there is always something beautiful and positive.
Yeah. At least they found the next part's going to be, oh, amongst the wreckage, someone just won the lottery by getting
They found their long lost lottery ticket unscathed.
We don't know where the person who was wearing the watch went, but this person got a new watch.
Yeah, I mean, the person who was wearing it, not sure, but the watch is good. Okay, we're being very insensitive. I apologize. That's really insensitive, but it's like these kind of
it. Yeah.
These, it reminds me of those stories where they have these little kids selling lemonade at the stands in their freaking driveway, and it's like, little kids selling lemonade. 3-year-old sells lemonade to help pay for their mother's cancer treatment. Yeah. And people are like, oh, it's like, 100%. No, that's not awe. That is sociopathic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this story is just, whether it's true or not, it's just, it's lame, honestly.
All right. So, moving on to East Palestine, speaking of disasters that continue to happen. So OSHA, do you want me to read the article?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The U.S. Occupational and Health Administration has been on site in East Palestine investigating worker complaints about the cleanup there. Citations have been issued and agreements have been made to do better. Enforcement inspections of the cleanup work from the derailment began in March. The agency looked at complaints leveled by workers on the track, those cleaning up the waterways, and some workers who went into homes and tested air quality. Members of the Brotherhood of Maintenance of Way Employees Division, International Brotherhood of Teamsters, along with private firms that were brought in for cleanup, as well as workers from the CDC, were part of the investigation into worker complaints. Complaints ranged from chemical exposure at the derailment site, where new train tracks were installed, to personal and air sampling for workers involved in the site and water cleanup. In connection with the investigations, Norfolk Southern has entered into agreement with OSHA, the Teamsters Union, to do the following: implement a medical surveillance program for all affected employees who worked at the derailment site, provide
employees,
not
residents, employees.
Right. provide union employees with 40 hours of hazardous waste operations and emergency response training for future derailments, create a training program on lessons learned from the Ohio derailment.
For future derailments, i.e., we're telling you there will be more.
Pay penalties assessed by OSHA for safety and health violations. In addition, 3 out-of-state companies, CTEH, Specialized Professional Services of Washington, Pennsylvania, and HEPECO Inc. of Charlotte, North Carolina, were investigated for workers exposed to chemicals they cleaned up in nearby creeks where spills killed first. Do you want me to keep going or stop?
No, that's good. I think it's just like total bullshit that they don't even try to hide, like how fucking disgusting they are.
Yeah.
They legit say, not in case of, as precaution for future, they're like, when there's future derailments, like, and all the protections are for the workers. Like, here's the thing, you guys, and this has been hitting me hard because, as you guys know, I've become very, very close to a lot of the people in East Palestine. And in about 2 weeks, the very few people who have been fortunate, I'll say lucky enough, to have been given hotel stays or relocation, after fighting and submitting rental receipts and all this bullshit, they're going to be losing their housing and their hotels in 2 weeks. These people are literally going to be forced to either live in their cars or go back to their homes, which is literally giving people cancer-causing toxins. Those are your choices. Take your kids, live in your car, sleep on the street, whatever, not our problem, or go home. It'll be fine. You're not going to feel the direct, like, serious effects for like a couple of years. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you're having issues, breathing, your respiratory issues are bad, you're breaking out with lesions and rashes, and little kids are peeing blood, but at least you're not in your car. So those are your 2 options. This is what's going to fucking happen in 2 goddamn weeks, okay? Because multiple times Biden has been asked for a fucking declaration of an emergency, a disaster declaration, and guess what? He can't take 2 seconds to fucking sign it. He can't even talk about it. Why? Because people think about, like, for instance, fires, tornadoes, things like that, hurricanes. These are like natural disasters, and we automatically spring into action, as we should. But that's automatically like FEMA, that's grants, that's everything, right? What the fuck about this? It was a corporation, a multi-billionaire corporation. So they are not doing shit. And these people are suffering so fucking bad, and they don't care. Also, and I posted about this on Twitter earlier today, East Palestine is finally trending. Yesterday and today. I was really happy. Finally, okay? I went and I started looking at them. It's all, like, the majority of all the tweets that are making a trend are saying Biden keeps giving money to Ukraine instead of helping people in East Palestine. Yes. I've been saying that for months. Yes. Valid. Here's the problem. People who haven't fucking said a word about East Palestine for over 6 months are using that as an opportunistic way to be like, gotcha, Biden. Don't fucking use these people. Don't use their tragedy to do a gotcha. That's not what the fuck this is. East Palestine didn't even trend on the 6-month anniversary. It hasn't trended for any reason. And now it's trending because people are doing a gotcha because they hate Biden. If you're going to post about it today, you better fucking keep posting about it because this shit is getting worse by the day. I can tell you firsthand. So if you're just going to use it only when it's, you know, a good opportunity and a good gotcha, fuck it. Don't use it at all. Because we have been screaming into the fucking void for months. Why is nobody talking about this? Please talk about it. Me asking people, do you want me to connect you with residents and you can have them on your show? Nobody responding. Things like this. And now everyone's making a trend because they want to say, fuck you, Biden. Hey, there's a lot of ways we can say, fuck you, Biden. But if you're going to say it this way, let's keep it fucking going. Let's keep talking about this. Let's keep making a trend. And not just for, you know, when you say, fuck you, Biden, people are suffering. That is minimizing everything that's happening. That is not sharing these people's stories. That is simply making a statement, the money should go here. And while it's valid, that is not enough. That is not speaking about the inhumane treatment, the violent neglect that is going on. That has nothing to do with it. That is merely, fuck you, Biden. That's it. So everyone just please do better. I'm not saying that like someone in the chat has been doing this. I'm just ranting because I'm like, I'm finally excited it's trending and I'm looking and I'm like, is it really trending? The words are trending, but the seriousness of the travesty is not trending. So I think people just really need to step the fuck up and talk about this shit. Because these people are literally fucking dying.
Yep. 3 former GOP operatives to pay $50,000 for roles in fake charity tied to East Palestine train derailment. Yeah. So they operated a phony charity that collected cash purportedly to help victims of the East Palestine train derailment. So on top of them being ignored, there's also been a large amount of money that hasn't actually gone to them that people have been paying out of their pockets.
Yeah.
So
it's the worst kind of exploitation. It's like, I'm going to take your trauma and I'm going to make money off of it. And you know, there was, I've brought it up on the show before. There was a woman who raised over $70,000 for East Palestine residents and ended up, and that GoFundMe's still up, mind you. I have the link. And that money went to her mommy, who's on the fucking board of the local council to beautify East Palestine, who's the one who's doing all those fucking stupid Easter egg hunts, carnivals, and shit on contaminated land. So the people, the residents, never got one penny. But if you look at the description, it talks about helping the people. And I know for a fact from the residents, nobody ever got a penny. And this woman literally said she gave it to the board her mother is on.
Yep.
So, and then there's another one, United for East Palestine, who has been asked numerous times to remove East Palestine from their name because they've raised thousands of dollars and have never given one penny to any of the residents. And nothing. Still there. Collection still up. So you know, and that's why I'm proud as fuck, because all that mutual aid we raised money for, I have receipts of every fucking penny. Every fucking penny.
Mm-hmm.
And I, like, to the point where I have been like, I need a receipt. I need a receipt. Oh my God, where's that receipt? Oh my God. Like, I've been like so hardcore about these receipts, because I do not believe people should even have to ask for receipts of what they've donated for. I believe that it is incumbent on me to provide that, whether or not people ask. That's what you fucking do. When people donate, you offer to show them, hey, this is what your donation bought. This is what your kindness did for these people. That's what you're supposed to fucking do. So when people say they're doing mutual aid and people ask them for receipts for what it's gone to, and they get blocked for asking that simple question, they're shady. They are fucking shady. Don't give to anyone like that. Give to someone who actually has the receipts and has consistently provided receipts, because you are donating out of your kindness and your support, and nobody should be taking advantage of that. You are donating to have that go to help people, not line liars' pockets. So please be careful who you donate to.
A lot of bad faith people out there. And I think this, speaking of bad faith people, I think this goes well into RFK Jr.
I can't. I literally, okay, so he's my new Yang. He's just so fucking easy to make fun of. But the thing is, like, and I'm saying this all the time, like, literally I'll share something on him and just say, wow, just one word, and it'll have like over 200 comments. This one, oh man, am I getting ripped a new asshole for this one. I mean, if you can't, I put cue the sycophants in 3, 2, 1. And what happened? Like, they have no logical argument at all. It's just like emotional triggers. It's like, dude, I literally would never vote for him, like, with a gun to my head. You are not going to win me over. Stop. Go fight with someone else.
Yeah, I remember seeing a take where someone said, this is him, this is popular, right? This is him kind of gauging both sides and then finding middle ground.
They say that all the time.
Which is just, I'm like, have you seen the fact that, like, conservative states, or maybe even socially conservative states like Kentucky, Ohio, like, when the people who live there actually have an option to vote on whether or not abortion rights should be repealed or expanded, even in the more conservative states, they're voting no, protect abortion rights. So it's, people are trying to say, oh, this is like where like normies are. No. Most people, even conservative, are like, yeah, reproductive rights. So yeah, he's of course, like many Democrats do, he decides to go to the fringes, the right-wing fringes, instead of
and also, out of all the things going on right now, why the fuck are you even talking about this?
Right.
Like, yes, a woman's choice is very important, but why, like, you have a lot more explaining to do about your stance on Israel. Maybe you want to, like, do something about that. But yeah, why don't we bring that up and just read the headline in the first, like, 2 paragraphs or something, because not everybody may understand what we're referring to.
Yeah, so Democratic President
Oh, you got to show it again.
F.K. Jr. Bringing it up. He said, okay. He says that he will, drum roll, said Sunday that he would, come on, video, get out of here, that he would support a national ban on abortion after the first 3 months of pregnancy if elected, only to walk back the stance hours later alleging he misunderstood. Mr. Kennedy misunderstood a question posed to him by an NBC reporter in a crowded, noisy exhibit hall at the Iowa State Fair, clarifying the candidate's stance on abortion as always being the woman's right to choose. Kennedy does not support legislation banning abortion, but Sunday morning, Kennedy was much more specific, telling NBC, I believe a decision to abort a child should be up to the woman during the first 3 months of life. Pressed on whether that meant signing a federal ban at 15 or 21 weeks, he yes. Okay, 15 and 21 weeks, that's very different. And and he's sort of like,
totally different. Totally different. How about you don't fucking sign a ban and let doctors fucking decide? Because there are people who have babies who during their pregnancies, they're told if you don't abort this baby, even at fucking 8 months, you will die.
Yeah.
So how about you just don't put a ban on any kind of fucking abortion? How about that, you old, white, rich man? How about that?
Mm-hmm.
And then I have all these people in my comments talking about zygotes and shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, I haven't even heard that term since I was like in high school 26 years ago. Like,
yeah.
Dude, fact of the matter is, the words ban and abortion should not be in the same fucking sentence. And, you know, when they say stuff like, you know, he's speaking at these Republican events and stuff because he wants to open up both sides of the aisle, okay. But when you're saying he's talking about things like this to open up to both sides of the aisle, that's a different thing. Because now you're talking about policy. Now you're talking about things that are going to affect millions of people, not just making an appearance. Like, if he goes on Fox News, I don't give a fuck. So what? But, like, when you're talking about, like, actually, you know, affecting people's lives, and might I remind y'all, he's been running for several months, and he still doesn't have a fucking platform on his fucking website. Dude is the most inconsistent person I've ever seen run for president, ever. Like, it is truly astounding the different stances he takes depending on the day, depending who's interviewing him. And yeah, his fans will just bend themselves into fucking pretzels. And you know, the thing I was talking about with Jenna earlier today, his supporters are very much like Hillary supporters, because when you call them out and you state that is actually a fucked up way for him to say that, or that's not okay, I don't agree with that, even if it's valid and legitimate, they'll be like, well, he's better than Biden. I don't give a flying fuck, so am I. I'm not running.
Or they say, oh, well, who has a better policy on this, right? Who could do better when it comes to, like, his policy on Israel? Who has a better one?
Right, or like, I don't agree with him on everything, but you sound like Hillary supporters. You're using the same fucking arguments. The same exact ones. Like, no, you will never find a candidate you agree with on everything. It is impossible unless you are that candidate. And maybe you don't even agree with yourself, because sometimes I'm like, what? When I like watch old clips of me or something, like, no, I've evolved on that. So
yeah,
That's the only time. If you agree with everything, that's a problem. You're a fucking sycophant. You're a fan. But when there are fundamental things that you disagree with, you shouldn't just settle. You shouldn't say, well, I am vehemently against the way he believes in this, that, and the other thing. But no. Like, which is it? Like, it's one thing to be like, I agree with 95%, but like, yeah, it's just, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. I mean, he takes big donor money. Like I thought we were against that. I thought we were like not okay with taking corporate donations.
Well, I knew he wasn't serious about that when he was asked on some program if he, you know, what is his stance on money in politics.
I remember.
And I think he said, well, the maximum amount that someone can donate is $2,500 or whatever it was. And he's like, so yeah, I don't think they should. I was like, okay, you really have not thought about this at all, or are prioritizing this if you can't see how many loopholes there are and how
Super PACs can donate $1 bajillion and it doesn't have to be documented. And he knows that damn right well. He has multi-billionaires donating to his campaign. So I thought we were against that shit. I thought we wanted Medicare for all. And when he was asked, he's like, literally, and, you know, well, it's not really gonna happen now. Whatever, dude. Like, free college? Nah. Student loan debt? Nah. Medical debt? What about all these things that we were supposedly fighting for fucking 7 years? Nah. You know what? He's a Kennedy. He's cool.
Yeah.
All right. It's your vote. Do what you want, but it's a no for me, dog.
So our last one is...
If you're cringing, I apologize. Yell at Jenna. She sent this to me. Thankfully, I hadn't heard about it.
Yeah, I honestly haven't watched the video. I've seen it, but yeah, let's see. So U.S. sunscreens are far behind the rest of the world, and our regulations aren't necessarily making our sunscreens better or safer, but it doesn't have to be this way. All right, let's see.
We're here to talk about today.
We are here to talk about sunscreen, specifically U.S. sunscreen, and how to fix it. Hello, everyone. This is Rep AOC, and I'm here with Charlotte Palomino.
I'm a brand owner, but also a licensed esthetician. U.S. sunscreen regulations are not necessarily making us more safe or better products.
U.S. sunscreens are far behind the rest of the world. I was in South Korea earlier this year, and it is so clear how far advanced the rest of the world is on sunscreen, and we deserve better here in the U.S.
How does the FDA regulate?
FDA is different than the rest of the world in that we regulate sunscreen as a drug instead of a cosmetic. It's regulated as a drug, has far more stringent standards, far more testing, far more scientific and clinical trials that are required, which is good. We want to make sure that things are safe. However, sometimes that can add a lot of bureaucratic and costs that prevent us from getting any sunscreen filters at all.
And just for context, it has been since 1999. That was the last time that we had a new sunscreen filter in the United States.
When we compare the US standards to European standards in 2017, a Sloan Kettering study found that only half of US sunscreens met European protection standards. Here's the thing though, there is something that we can do about this. Congress has not been very aware of this issue, which is why there hasn't been a lot of momentum behind this issue. Truly, it's not too corny. Please contact your member of Congress, especially if your member of Congress sits on the Energy and Commerce Committee. They have jurisdiction over the FDA. However, any member of Congress can develop attention and draw attention to this issue. Ask them to break through some of the regulatory barriers at the FDA and fund public research so that we can all enjoy the filters that develop out of the scientific process.
Just need to make some noise about it.
Totally. I mean, I love Korean sunscreens, but I want to buy this in the US. Why do we need to import them from all over the place?
Okay.
Bring the ruckus, y'all. Bring the ruckus. You know what? I haven't talked about Medicare for All for like 2 years, but you know what? Call your fucking reps about sunscreen, because that is serious. And that is what we need to focus on.
I mean, you know, it's good to have good sunscreen, protects you from potential skin cancer or getting burnt. She kind of lost me though, and I don't like, she said deregulation, like she basically said they're regulated too much like a drug and it needs to be like a cosmetic.
But that's what I don't understand. It's not a fucking cosmetic. It's supposed to help.
I'm just confused. Yeah, I was like,
yeah,
this isn't a cosmetic at all. And like, if you make it like a cosmetic, couldn't that be dangerous? Because a lot of cosmetics are not even good for your skin.
Right.
So like, what the fuck are we doing here? I don't know.
The point is to use it for health reasons. That's the fucking point. I am burnt as fuck right now because I went to the pool for the first time yesterday. And do you see how burnt I fucking am? I am pasty as fuck. But I mean, I am burnt. And I was in the pool for over 2 hours straight up to here. And I'm still fucking burnt. Yeah. So I know sunscreen is important because us pasty folk, even when I wear over 100 proof, literally 100 plus proof, and I still fucking burn. So I get it. But I'm not using it as a fucking cosmetic.
Yeah, that part was really confusing me. I was just like,
oh my God.
And yeah, now it made me kind of be like, okay, I'm sure a lot of countries have better fucking sunscreen than us because most countries have better everything than us.
Yeah.
But then I was sort of like, is it because they treat it like a cosmetic, or is it because I don't know.
All right, guys. Well, please tune in Thursday night to see my interview with Kim, the director of the Assange documentary, Trust Fall. And I will be going live several times this weekend since I'm going back to East Palestine on Friday. So thank you all so much for watching. Much love.
Be sure to bring your sunscreen to East Palestine.
Yes, I will.
That is the concern. All right.